Hey everybody, welcome to the Hangout, the first one of 2015. I feel like I need to give a 2014 award to Kurt because Kurt, I think you've been the only person that has made every single Hangout. If my calculations are accurate, I think you're the only person who's been on every single participation here, even after the long break. So kudos to you. And Catherine and James, you guys are, I think, close behind, if not equaling that. So thanks, guys,
Yeah.
for being here. For those of you who are watching on the chat, welcome to the first Hangout of 2015. To be honest with you guys, I mean, what we've done up until this point has been we've gone through the entire Amazing Selling Machine training as well as some additional stuff on top of that. And all I really want to do today is make sure that you're in a good spot to be at where you need to be by the time we meet in person in February, by the time that we get to the conference in February. Now, the conference in February, a few things to keep in mind are there's high-level speakers, but most of them are not necessarily Amazon related. For example, Robert Kiyosaki and Richard Branson aren't necessarily Amazon guys. So, and a good buddy of mine, a mentor of mine, Todd Herman, who will be there, is a performance coach, but not necessarily an Amazon guy. So the training, as far as having a profitable business up until this point, you basically are armed with everything that you need to know, especially since you're in the tribe and you have access to things like Zon Blast, you have access to the group to ask questions, you have people who have blazed the trail already, and you can see a year out as to what that looks like. The idea of more training, it's kind of just testing and tweaking from this point if you've completed the course, if you have products on their way to Amazon, if you have your inventory live, if you're taking sales, doing pay-per-click. It is a matter of getting sales and reviews and then repeating that process and then moving on to stage 3, which is things like a data acquisition, setting up a website, and thinking about exit if that's a place that you want to go. So I want to take this time to answer your questions and make sure that we're on a good pace for the live event. And since the pickings right now are pretty open as far as spots on the live call, we'll have plenty of time to wrap back and forth. One thing that I do want to address for those of you who are live and those of you who are watching on the live stream is the 10-person conference in March is completely sold out. It's sold out in 2 days. I'm going to be doing this throughout the year, though, of working with groups of 10, flying into Austin. We'll be sitting down. We'll be going through a mastermind session. We'll also be going through working hands-on in your business. We'll be working on what it takes to go from, if you're at 10,000 a month to 100,000 a month, with the idea of when you leave there, you'll have a plan to go from wherever you are to being 50,000 a month to $100,000 a month. You'll be at that range. You have a blueprint to follow once you leave. I did this for the first time with our buddy Zach, who's in the tribe. Came into Austin. We worked with him, myself, and my partner Sean, and another one of my friends worked on creating a strategy, creating a blueprint for him to follow exactly to go from where he was to way more, and he went from where he was to well over $100,000 a month within a few months of leaving that room, just from us being hands-on on his business, creating an action plan for him. So we're going to be doing that a couple more times throughout the year. I am opening up another date soon. It's going to be end of March is going to be the next one, and then there's going to be at least one in April. If that's something that you want to be a part of, I'll have dates for you in the tribe, hopefully next week. It'll be sometime end of March, and there'll be one probably in April as well. But I'm going to be promoting it from stage at the ASM conference, so they'll definitely sell out by the time that we all meet in February. So if that's something that you want to be a part of, make sure that you hop on that when the dates are confirmed. It'll probably be that last week in March, though. That's all the house cleaning I have for you. I guess a little update on what's going on here. Sean and I are selling the yoga business. We closed January 31st. We have paperwork pretty much done. The buyers are flying into Austin a week from today, to go over kind of final details and trademarks and stuff like that. And we are closing at the end of January, so I'll be able to release more details after we close. My supplement business took a big jump this week from simply being, I don't know what it took me so long on this business to be aggressive with, but we finally just bullied our way to the top on some aggressive keywords, and as a result of that, went from selling 40 a day to selling to more than doubling our sales. So that idea of being aggressive on keywords through Zon Blast, through keywords, through pay-per-click, through reviews, through optimizing your listing, there's nothing more important than that if you're going to compete in the competitive space that most of us are in. So following those things, James, you're laughing. I don't know if you're laughing at me or something that's going on in your house, but there's nothing more important than bowling your way to the top on keywords if you're going to have regular, consistent sales coming in. And then on my men's fitness company, we are basically we're trying to tweak for little things right now. We sell $250,000 a month in sales. We're going, okay, what can we do in the next 2 weeks to be at 275? And what can we do over the next 2 weeks after that to be at 300? Because our goal is to double that amount by about mid-year, so that by the end of the year we're doing about $1 million a month is the goal that we're setting out. We're also building out other channels apart from Amazon. We're building our own funnel. We're looking at retail. We're looking at other places to expand that. But this is the future. This is 18 months from where most of you are. All you really need to be focusing on is optimizing the channel that you've currently chosen, which is Amazon. Those are all of my my house cleaning issues. So what I'd like to do is just work with you guys one-on-one to find out where you're at, what we need to do to get you to the next level, and then create a roadmap for you to get there. So whoever would like to go first may go first, as long as you don't mind me eating a Quest bar in front of you.
Just want to give a quick shout out to the tiered giveaway that you suggested last time.
Good.
It seemed to be pretty good. I think I probably did not lose as much money as I would have on it, so I very much appreciate that, and I still gave away my 200 that I wanted to give away.
Good.
So that was slick. So yeah, for anyone who listened last time, it's definitely a pretty sweet idea. I just went like, I've got 100 units. Once they're gone, we're gonna have to raise the price. And then I sent out this, oh guys, you're so amazing. I can't believe we had so much feedback on this. We sold at 100, but because everyone's so mad, and people want this deal so bad, we're gonna do it for $5 for the next 50. And after that, it was the same thing. It was, I can't believe it. This is insane. How could we be, so popular with you guys? 50% off until these last 50 units are gone. And they all went in like I don't know. I guess there's a day in between. I launched on the 22nd of December, which was kind of crap, but that was the closest I could get, and I wasn't going to wait. So yeah, from the 4 or 5 in the afternoon to like 8 o'clock the next morning, they all sold out. So definitely a sweet strategy.
Great. Well, congratulations on the launch. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how the launch went, apart from just the tiered stuff giving away? I mean, as far as reviews go, people liking the product. Tell us a little bit more about the launch.
Okay, so I sent an email out. I actually posted this in the Facebook group, and I just thought, maybe someone would get something out of it, so hopefully that's all right. But a quick rejig is that I sent out a couple emails to my list. One was through the survey I had, one was through the opt-ins that I had through the website. Someone's echoing here.
We're all going to blame Illy since she just joined.
So yeah, I sent out those, and I had like a 50% open rate for both the lists, and I think like a 30 or 40% click-through rate. So pretty much everyone was clicking through the link to get the $1 or $5 or whatever. The one thing I was sort of interested in seeing how many people were going to go like, wow, this is just a scam, or you're being a jerk. There's only about 10 people, and I'm used to that because I do a lot of stuff like political campaigns, so I know that when the angry people are calling, there's like a couple of them compared to the thousands who love you. So there's 10 people, and I had a huge win actually. Some guy was like, oh, you're a scammer. and I can't believe this, and I was gonna buy it, but you just suck, and I can't believe you didn't let everyone get it for $1. And so I replied back, and I'm like, listen, I know that it sucks, but we've got to do something to make sure we don't just sell out and have no money left, and we really want everyone to have this product, but we have to make it $5 the next little while, just because that's what we're doing. And I said, but to show that we're not just marketing robots like this guy insinuated, here's a special $1 coupon for you. Just don't tell anyone about it. Thanks a lot for being so passionate. And the guy replies like, man, I'm not even going to use that. I'm going to buy it for full price. I love you guys. I'm going to be a customer for life. So a little customer service thing there for everyone. That was pretty sweet. So I just got my 20th review this morning. I'm at like 4.8 stars or something, and my 2 3-star reviews are basically 5-star reviews. They just those random ones. Oh, great product, but 3 stars. So everything's good. I put it up on my.
Say that again. Great product, but what?
But 3 stars. Those reviews you get that are 3 stars, but for some reason they give you like a 5-star review. So yeah, I'm glad that I have those, because I'd like to bump those up to be my sort of best negative reviews. So that's pretty good. Yeah, 20 reviews, 4.8 stars now, and I put it up on my affiliate website last night just to see what kind of conversion I'd get, and I had like 12 reviews at the time, and I sold I think 4 units out of 80 clicks or something. So I don't know if is that like pretty bad in terms of the conversion. Will Amazon go like, wow, this guy's not converting, and like kick me down? That's fine.
No, I wouldn't worry about that. I worry about sales, total sales, a lot more than I worry about overall conversion rate.
Sweet. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I threw that up there and made 4 sales off the website and did like 13 units yesterday. I'm not sure how, but it's pretty cool. And now I'm really considering, like, my next move is I just wait and sell out of these ones, get the capital back, and then buy another inventory blast and then Zon blast it, or do I buy my inventory now, Zon blast it, and just sort of recoup the costs as I go? So I think I should be aggressive on that, but putting $5,000 down another 500 units is getting me like, do I or don't I? So I can. So should I?
That's a fantastic segue and a great question. First of all, tell us, when did launch end, and how many days have you had of just surviving on organic sales?
Launch ended December 23rd, and I did a like 15-unit mini launch because I forgot to turn off my Facebook ad, so I had like 90 people who signed up otherwise expecting a $1 coupon. So I gave away like 15 free units on like the December 31st. So there's now been, I don't know, 10 days between end of launch and now, and I've got 2 sales a day, 4 sales a day. Yesterday was 13, and I'm still sort of scratching my head. So.
And are you ranking anywhere for keywords?
Yeah, I'm number 2 for best my product, and I'm 30th for my product. So page 3,
Great.
I think that is.
How competitive is that market overall? If you were to like comparison 1 to 10, how competitive do you think it is?
Probably like a 3 or a 4, and I only say a 4 because there's so many of them. And they're all like they're crap. I mean, there's like 10 reviews, 2 reviews, 4 reviews. None of them are optimized. Even the number 1 guy who's getting like 800 reviews, and I think he's like 50th in beauty overall. He's got no follow-up sequence, nothing. So I'm thinking like in a couple months I should be that guy. But I've got a follow-up sequence, and I'm good at this hopefully. So the top guys sell a lot, but they're not very good. So I'm going to say like a 3 or a 4.
Okay, you're in a perfect market then. And tell me what your profit is per unit, if you know it.
$8.67.
Okay, not bad. Are you selling for about $20 then?
$24.99.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so you've got a higher cost.
Yeah.
And if you're comfortable sharing this, about how much cash are you comfortable investing more into as your next step?
I've got $5,000 sort of sitting and waiting, so to speak.
Okay, great. So if you're comfortable putting that to work, this is always the question that comes up. Should I be aggressive, or should I bide my time and reinvest the profits? Either one will work, of course. It's just a matter of how fast do you want to be at the goal that you've set for yourself. Mm-hmm. And if the goal is faster than an alternative, then it is to take that money and go ahead and buy that inventory now. So it was with 2 of my businesses, my supplement company and my yoga company. I have partnerships with people where I'm the bank, and I am the advisor, and other people run those businesses. So Sean runs our yoga company. That's why I say Sean is the genius behind that. I came up with the idea. I put up some money. I made some connections. I met the people that are buying our company. I don't do anything in the business. Same with my supplement company. So I am not as actively aggressive in those. I kind of follow their lead on those. With my company that I run, I'm extremely aggressive, and if you look at my income reports, you can tell the difference between the two. You can tell the difference between how fast they were profitable and how big they are now. So the reason I say this is because between my three businesses, there's a nice little smorgasbord of how aggressive each one of these experiments are and what the results are. We just decided, my partner and I should say, just decided to really get aggressive on the in the supplement business on our primary product, and we weren't as aggressive for about a year. We were just kind of biding our time and growing steadily. We got really aggressive with pricing, aggressive with Zonblasts, aggressive with our list. So all the assets that we had at our disposal, we tried to maximize for total number of sales. And when you're beginning, you need to maximize for sales and not for profit. How many quantity of sales can I churn through in order to get the rankings that I need in order to be profitable? And when we turned that on, we're now doubling our sales, even though we're back at our previous price and we've stepped off the gas pedal. So we've doubled our sales in a couple of weeks just by pushing the gas pedal, and now we're back off because our rankings are up, we're making more sales, we've got a #1 bestseller tag. So for you in the position that I'm in, I always recommend, if you want to be at your goal faster, to be as aggressive as possible. So I would take that $5,000. I'd put the order in now, especially because it's going to take some time to fulfill. Once it hits Amazon, I'd do a Zonblast, and I'd go back to your customer base and say, I'm doing a 25% off coupon for 7 days or whatever it is. A conservative giveaway, if you will, a conservative discount. And I would consider for you, if you're not over 25 sales a day, I would consider dropping your price just north of break even in order to get sales coming in steadily or quickly to give it like an artificial spike over the long term and get up for that ranking. So it's a process, not so much of how do I chase the profit, but how do I chase the ranking and the sales until I'm on page 1, and then I can step off the gas pedal and it's a gravy train from there. That was a very long-winded answer, but I hope it gives you the direction that you needed.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I know the number I need for my my goal at the end of the year, and I'm going like I can probably get there in a few months. I just don't really know how aggressive I'm going to be. So yeah, I will. I'll put the order in then. That's exactly what's over here.
So I try to use this phrase sparingly, but I think that it is necessary, or it is appropriate here. Great fucking work. You've done an awesome job at taking action, at following the plan, at launching on time, of getting things going. So great work. Tell me what your plan is for reviews, because you've got 20 now, which is awesome. You've got a list in place that you can hit for reviews, but let's tweak that because that's going to bring in consistent sales over the long term.
Okay, my follow-up is an email when the product is shipped, which is basically, hey, it's shipped, blah blah blah. If you want, you can leave feedback for us when you get it. Sort of like, I don't really want to push feedback as much, but I thought I'd throw that in the first one. My second one right now, I just threw up an email because I'm waiting on my caller who's going to be doing the actual review follow-up based on your sequence. He's not in until the 8th. I got a buddy who owns a local call center, so I'm just sniping one of his guys. So he's not back to the 8th, but until then I've got a second follow-up. Here's some FAQs about your product as it's delivered a couple days after delivery. Here's how to use it best. And by the way, can you leave a review? But it's going to be your 4 yeses, and then, can I send you a review link as well? So that's going to happen on the 8th, starting on the 8th of January. And then the third one is 14 days after delivery or something like that. With are you still enjoying it? Here's a couple more final tidbits about how to get the most out of it. If you haven't already, please leave us a review.
So I use this phrase sparingly. I have nothing to add. I think that's exactly what you need to be doing for where you're at. So great work. All you need to be doing is worrying about getting as many people into the top of that funnel as possible, and that's going to come. I'll tell you a case study about what Paul and I did on the supplement side of things while we were at this implementation break over the new year. We dropped our price about 35%, maybe more, at just north of break even, and we did this as an experiment in order to inflate sales because we have just been stubborn at the middle of page 2. And it was creating about 35 sales, 40 sales a day, but it's been over a year, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like, what do you do in the case of like it's not working? We're not at the level that we thought, and some people are going to have that. I have 3 businesses. One of them is going to hit that point of like, this didn't happen how I wanted it to. What do I do now? And the truth is, we weren't being aggressive at all in our marketing. We were doing a lot of things that were nice, that were extra, but weren't necessary. I wasn't following my own plan, if you will, on this business. So what we did is we decided, all right, let's go back to the plan. Let's forget all these nice things and let's just stick to the plan. So we dropped the price, which violates my thinking long term, but we dropped it in the short term just to see what would happen. And sales skyrocketed. They went from 35 to like 90, sometimes 100 a day, as it would. But what we discovered is we actually made more profit when we dropped the price like that than if we had a higher price. Interesting. Now, we don't want to keep it there long term. We don't want to be at $12.99, which is what we were for long term. But we dropped it temporarily just to try and see if we could get ourselves over the hump of middle of page 2. So we start to climb slowly, and reviews start to come in. We've already got almost 400 reviews. But we start to pass up other people, and we get to the top of page 2, and then we do a Zomblast. We do a Zomblast of, I don't know what it was, maybe 250, 300 units at the $5 price point. So we didn't quite break even, but lost very little money, $5 in exchange for something that costs about 10. It wasn't too bad to swallow. And that jumped us up to bottom of page 1 and gave us the #1 tag, which spiked our sales more, raised the price back to almost what it was originally, to where our profits are where they need to be, and now we're selling 80 a day or so. So we've more than doubled what we were doing previously. So we have infused energy into our business by putting more people in the top of the funnel who become reviewers, become repeat buyers, who inflate our BSR, who increase our ranking, and the snowball starts to go. So now we're excited again because that business will be at 50K a month next month, whereas it was just north of 20 last month. So that's the impact, and I'm part of me is embarrassed because like I know this stuff. Like, why couldn't I get out of my own way to encourage my partner to be more aggressive on a business like this? And then part of me is just feels the need to share it with you because some of you are going to hit that point where you're like, this didn't go how I thought it would. Do I give up? And some people do. Some people give up, where other people are like, all right, this is what I have to work with, and this is what I'm going to do. And Paul and I did that, and the results have been spectacular, and they continue to get better. And they increase every week as a result of us maintaining that aggressiveness. So if you're not seeing the results that you want, chances are you're probably not being as aggressive as you could be or as you need to be in order to compete in that space. For example, there's people who go into the Garcinia Cambogia space. And this would be a mistake now because as we've all gone through Google Trends on these Hangouts, we can see that that is a market that's dying. So it's not a market you would want to go into today, but there's people who still go into it. They get stuck at page 9 and they go, why the hell am I on page 9 and selling 4 a day? I've followed the plan. The reason is because a very competitive space like that, or beauty, or forskolin, or fish oil, or yoga mats are all very competitive spaces, and you need to be, your aggressiveness needs to match the competitiveness of that space in order for you to have that, to have the market share in order to make sales. I feel like I preach that every week, but it was that my own case study there was a reminder for me, and I wanted to pass that along to you because I know that some of you are going to hit that point. So let's take somebody else. Who else made some changes over the implementation break over the new year and would like some help getting to that next level?
Can I, Ryan?
No, everyone but you can go, but not you. You are.
Okay.
You are. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
We just ordered inventory. We're not yet there to start with selling our products because we had some delay due to customs in China with Catherine. And regarding this, we just ordered our first inventory actually, and we are in a process of preparing the second and the third product with Catherine. And she already received samples from Amazon, competitor samples from Amazon. We will launch tomorrow our web page, which is almost ready to go, and we also have almost 1,500 persons in our Facebook group. It's expanding from day to day, and the ads are cheaper and cheaper every day. So we increase the budget. The daily budget actually to get as much likes as possible, and we are actually preparing everything else for this launch when we will be able to start selling the first product. So we know that we will be able to give away around 400 units, and I think that we will take Zone Blast because because we are not from USA and we are difficult to get this huge amount of reviews from the beginning of sales. So
where are your likes coming from? Are they US based people on Facebook?
Yes, they're especially US based. We targeted only US based people. Good. And all the other stuffs which are connected with our brand and with our niche. So for this product we didn't create ads just for this product which we are launching right now, but we actually prepared the persons who are interested in whole our brand, because we will add also other products later. And it will be helpful for them to also hear about other products, not just the first one.
Right.
We didn't focus only on one product, but the whole brand.
Let's talk about Facebook for a second, because I'm actually pulling up some stats from some Facebook experiments we did over the break. But I'd like to hear how you are targeting people and what, if you have any special bidding strategies, what your cost per like is. Let's talk about that for a second, then we can create a plan for launch for you.
I just targeted we are in sport and outdoors niche, and we targeted some topics of our products which we know will be the second, third, and so on. The way we are going actually with our products, we targeted English language and US people, and this is it actually what we did with targeting. The price per click per like is actually around 5 cents, euro cents, because we are in European Union. So this is it actually.
So just so I understand correctly, you're just targeting English-speaking people in the U.S.? You're not targeting by category? You're just going really broad?
Yes, we're actually targeting with category. But this category is for sport and outdoor activities and so on. Yes, we are targeting.
So 5 cents a like is phenomenal. You know, in U.S. terms, that's like 7 cents or so. So what's your daily budget right now? Because at 7 cents or 5 cents, depending on the currency, I'd be buying all the likes I could possibly get. I just turned up the heat on 12-cent likes, and I was thrilled. So tell me about your budget and how aggressive you're being there.
My budget is 8 euros per day.
8 or 80?
8 per
Okay.
day.
So your assignment this week is to test what it is at 12 or 15.
15 euros. Okay.
Because if we increase, so if we get 50% more at 5 cents, 5 cents alike, if you can get more of those, I take them. I would take them. That's a fantastic price.
Yeah, I actually tried to create another ad just for test, and I actually doubled the budget daily, but I actually little bit changed the targeting, and the price was around 20 cents per click. So I went back to my first ad, and I just changed the daily budget, and I running that ad for page likes because it's giving us the best results till now.
Okay, great. I'd encourage you to test upping that a little bit. If you can maintain that price, continue to up it as long as you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable, obviously don't do it.
Okay.
At what point will your inventory hit Amazon stores? Are we looking at 30 days out, 60 days out?
I think that we will be able to. The products will be produced in around 10th of January, so they will be shipped by air. So I think they will hit the Amazon around at least by the 20th of January. So
yeah.
around. So we will prepare to. We will actually start to warming up our targeting people on Facebook and on the web page. Just to be aware that we are preparing something.
Good. That's your second assignment for this week. As soon as you have a picture of your product, and you can start making some lists of features, start making those your posts and boost them so that everybody sees them. Put $5 or $10 towards the post so that everybody sees them. A picture of your product, and say, hey, just wanted y'all to see what we're working on behind the scenes. It's our newest whatever it is. And it does this, this, and this. The next day, you put up a new picture with a feature about it and talk about why you decided to include that feature. Day 3, you're repeating that process. You're saying you're naming a feature and what the benefit of that feature is. And you're doing that every day until launch. And then you leak, hey, by the way, we're going to be giving away 100 of these for 50% off. Until launch day comes. Give away, if you're giving away 100, give away 20. What we did in yoga, we did like 10 a day for 10 days, and we dripped it out like that, because we didn't know about spiking the sales all in one time period back then, and also we needed to buy ourselves some time because our inventory was delayed, but we announced when the launch date was, so we needed to give ourselves some time, so we spread it out over 10 days instead. We also thought it would keep the audience engaged. So we did that. Keeping the audience engaged is vitally important to your long-term success on that page. You're welcome to use that in any capacity that might be helpful to you. With obviously you want to front load the spike of the BSR as much as possible. So those are some strategies you can use, but it's important to build up the buzz for it, have a launch day, and then be able to maintain that momentum afterwards as well. You can also take a lesson out of Kurt's book where he talked about the tiered launch. You could give away 50 at the $1 price and then start to raise the price slowly after then until it's at its optimal level. And you could even keep a public coupon of 10 to 15% off to just the people who like that page in order to continue the interest in the page.
Great, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, we are actually, as you did with your yoga, we actually wanted to buy time because we have some delay with sourcing, and regarding this, we set up everything else, so web page and Facebook group and everything else, because we didn't want to lose any time regarding our launch and our later phases of business. So
good. Well, congratulations. What you need to be thinking about right now is that Facebook launch. When it hits inventory, do Amazon pay-per-click, and then you are following the same strategies we just outlined for Kurt of keeping volume high so you rank for certain keywords.
Great, thank you.
Cool. All right, let's keep moving. Let's do a couple more. Let me know where you're at, what you did over the break. You don't need to raise your hand, John. You can just hop on.
Yeah, okay. I'm ASM3. Currently have one product. Currently doing 20 sales a day. I track around 26 keywords. Now, most of them I'm on page 1. And even my top 3, I'm on page 2, like position 19, 18. So I'm at the very top. I'm not sure if I should lower the price, how you're saying, so I try and come at the bottom of page 1. I'm not sure about that. The thing what I want to ask you is the ACOS, the advertising cost of sales, the benchmark, what should it be? Because currently I'm trying to lower it down. I started off at 60% and it was too high, so I lowered it down to 30. So if I have like if I'm ranked on page number 1, shall the PPC be low or shall I still be aggressive?
So just so I understand, you're saying it cost you $30 to acquire a sale via pay-per-click?
No. At the moment, I have most of 90% of my keywords. I'm on page 1.
Yeah.
Shall I still be aggressive with my PPC, or shall I lower it?
So I'm of the short answer is I'm of the opinion that you should continue to be aggressive.
Okay.
But let me ask you the question. I want to focus on this. You mentioned the average cost of sale.
Yeah.
Did you say yours was $30?
No, average cost of sales is a percentage. At the moment, I'm 30%.
Ah, okay, cool.
It's the last column. It's the last column.
Right. Okay. So here's your benchmark. What is your profit per sale?
$10.
And what's the cost of the? What's your cost? Like, what does it cost to make a unit and sell a unit?
And the selling price or the cost itself?
So here's what I'm getting at. Forgive me, but what I'm getting at is your average cost of sale. The benchmark is you should match what your profit per sale is. So if you have 50% profit margins, you should aim to have an average cost of sale of 50%. After calculating in Amazon fees, by the way. After calculating Amazon fees and product cost.
Okay.
So you have to do this manually. Amazon does not give you this metric. This is something you've got to calculate manually.
Okay. At the moment, it's roughly I spent $50 on PPC, and I'm getting back in profit is $150. So
Good.
It's roughly $100 profit.
Great. So you're doing better than benchmark. I would say you have. What I say about that is you have room to be more aggressive if you want to be more aggressive. So look, I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Yeah, sure.
What is your price per unit right now?
$21.95.
$21.95, and you make 10 from that. Good.
You make roughly 20 sales.
Right. You're making 20 sales a day, right?
At the moment, yeah.
Okay, cool. What's the best day you've ever had?
It was 34 sales. Last 2 days ago.
That's weird. Somehow my phone just Googled "that's weird" when I said "that's weird." It's funny. Okay, so 34 is good. That's good. How long ago was that record?
On the 29th of December.
So a few days ago.
Yeah.
Okay, great. What did it do yesterday?
21 sales.
Okay, cool. What was it doing a month ago?
A month ago.
On average.
On average, maybe 12.
Okay,
Between
cool.
that, on the 19th of last month, I had a zone blast.
Okay, great. So, how many reviews do you have?
120.
Beautiful. Is that more or less than the people around you in your ranking?
I consider it I am one of the low ones.
One of the low ones. Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And what number in your category are you? Meaning, when you look at your BSR and you look at the subcategory you're in, what's the number you're at on average?
At the particular product I'm ranked number 13.
Okay.
And my BSR is 3,000 at the moment. It's 3,800. It's very good. Usually it's roughly 6,000, 7,000.
Okay, cool. So good news is we see a lot of growth here. There's growth happening because a month ago you're doing 12 a day. Today you're doing 20 a day. A few days ago you had 34. So we're having spikes, and it's working our way towards growth. Fantastic. I would recommend. Actually, how long have you been selling? I should ask this question first.
If I'm not mistaken, since August.
Okay, so I'd say it's time. It would be my recommendation to test for the next week, dropping your price to $14.99, $15.99, as high as $16.99, just to test.
Yeah.
And the only reason here is to see if there's a spike in sales high enough to offset the price drop. So now you're making $5, $6 a unit, and if that's the case, you have to sell twice as many. If you sell more than twice as many, then you're making more money than before, which is great, and you're feeding the algorithm and spiking sales and giving Amazon what it wants. So there's nothing lost there. There's no reason to not do that, as long as you're comfortable with it, and it's not going to end up in you running out of stock. If it means you're going to run out of stock, then we come back and we adjust the price so we slow sales down a little bit, because you do not want to run out of stock. But if you've got plenty of inventory, I would test for the next week dropping sales just to see what happens. If you don't have an offset in your profit, put it back and just put all that energy into a Zon Blast. Put all of that effort and that profit into a Zon Blast or into pay-per-click more aggressively, because you're profiting from pay-per-click, so you have the room to up that. The goal of pay-per-click, in my opinion, when you're starting out, is not to make a profit. It is to get sales flowing so that you have reviews, so that your BSR is higher, so that Amazon sees you as authoritative. In time, I'm going to recommend that you find a subcategory that you can dominate a little bit more easily. If you contact Amazon, have them add a search node for a less competitive subcategory, you don't lose anything, but it's something that you can show up in the rankings for, which can actually increase sales. If it's important to you right now, go ahead and do that this week. But in time, I'm going to recommend that. I think I would probably increase sales a little bit before we did that. But you can start looking at what might be an easy subcategory for you to dominate in time for you to get that #1 tag. Because that #1 tag will add a lot of sales to your bottom line.
Roughly 30%, I was recording.
At least.
Yeah. To be honest, I found that a subcategory that is roughly 4,000 BSR to get the bestseller ranking. But the thing is, today it's a very good. It's 3,800. Usually it's 6,000. I'm trying to get an average of 4,000, so then I can apply for this subcategory.
Oh man, go in there now. I mean, you have it right now, wouldn't you?
At the moment, yes. Today it would be true. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And if you drop your price, you'll certainly maintain that. So by all means, go into that subcategory. You don't need to change your subcategory. You just need to add that subcategory by adding the search node.
Sure.
So by all means. Now, there's one thing to pay attention to, and that is, contrary to popular belief, not all categories get a #1 tag. So go to that subcategory and click on the person who's #1 and see if they've got a tag. If they've got a tag, go into that subcategory. If they don't have a tag, that category is not big enough to have a tag, because they actually have a minimum quantity required for a #1 seller tag, and it's not quantity of sales. It's the silliest thing in the world. It's quantity of products in the category. It's the silliest thing in the world why that matters. But unless there's a certain number of, I think it's 100, unless there's at least 100 products in the category, there's no #1 seller tag. Why? I don't know. I'm not Amazon. I don't get why they do half the things they do, but that's the rule. So the easiest way to check, just go to the #1 guy, click on him. If he's got a #1 tag, go into that category. If not, look for a different category.
Sure. One last thing with regards to cutting down the price. I shall be doing it in the roughly 2-3 weeks time because I'm currently limited on stock,
Okay.
and my supplier is also out of stock. So I need to like slow down. Yeah, I might also switch off PPC just so I don't end up out of stock. So when I'm fully stocked up, I will try it. I will do the 16.99.
Okay.
And we'll see from where it takes us.
Good. So I think that's a perfect plan for now. Keep it where it is. Monitor sales over the next 2 weeks. If you have growth without dropping the price, that's even better. I'd put all your emphasis on reviews then for the next 2 weeks. Once you get more inventory, then you can try some price testing and do these experiments that we just laid out for you.
Yeah, roughly reviews. I'm getting roughly one every 2 days. One review every 2 days. So it's increasing slowly.
Do you have a follow-up sequence like we went over with Kurt?
Yeah. I have three emails sent to them.
Okay.
And there's a good follow-up. I just tweaked it a bit lately. I also had problems with Feedback Genius, so I'll be swapping to Wave Review now. I have a call with them next week, so hopefully we'll have a smooth transition. And hope that Wave Review I heard very good results about it. So I chose them over the other competitors.
Yeah, I think that should be your emphasis for the next 2 weeks. Is how do I go from 120 reviews to 150? What are the top? How many reviews do the top people in your space have?
Number one spot has 360.
How many? 360? Is that what you said?
360, yes.
Oh yeah, you'll dominate this then. 360 is not. If you get your systems in place now, you will in 6 months you will be destroying the people who are number one.
Yeah.
Especially at your trend of growth.
Just one last point. I don't want to take all the time. I'm noticing that in the first page, all the products have a brand, like they have another 6 products, under this brand. I think I'm limiting myself because I only have one product at the moment. Because I noticed that all the products on first page have like roughly another 6 other types of brands. I'm the only one that has only one product. So in the meantime, I'm going to launch another product in the same niche to maybe get some momentum.
I think you're close to ready. How much cash do you have sitting on the sidelines that you feel comfortable investing right now?
I just invested on units, on another 1,000 units, so that will generate some good money with profit. And with that profit, I'll be investing 500 new units on a new supplement.
I might wait a month or so. The only reason is because I don't want you to divert your attention from something that's got really good momentum. Because in a month, you're going to have another 1,000 units. In a month, you're going to probably either do another blast or you're going to have a spike in sales from a product drop. And it's going to require you to probably place another order soon. And I don't want you to be in the spot where it's like, shit, I just ordered this other product and now I got to dip into more savings. And now if you're comfortable dipping into savings, by all means, or borrowing from your aunt or your neighbor or your cat or whoever, I'm all for that if you can maintain that aggressiveness. But if that is going to slow down your aggressiveness on your one product, I would hesitate before giving my blessing and rolling out a second product.
Okay.
When you're comfortably selling 20 to 25 a day at full price so that your profit's coming in, go for it. And with your momentum, it's not going to be long, but I would hesitate before jumping the gun on it simply because I don't want you to step off the gas pedal yet when you're in a position to double or triple sales over the next 60 days or so.
Sure. No, I'm expecting a spike with this January season, or everyone starting off the health season. So I'm expecting January will be a good month.
Cool. Good.
I'm ready for it. I'm restocking. So.
Okay. As long as you can maintain the aggressiveness, you have my blessing. But if having to order more inventory in your existing product plus buying your second product is going to prevent you from being aggressive, don't do it. If you can maintain the aggressiveness, do it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
Now, in my first business, I ordered my second product right when I was selling 25 a day on my first product. So you're right in line with where we were, but we were totally comfortable stepping on the gas pedal and continuing to not make a lot of money. We were comfortable being aggressive, is what I'm saying. So if you can match that, do it. So 25 a day was our benchmark too, and I've told the story 1,000 times, but I love it so much I'll tell it again. We thought that we'd have 4 products each selling 25 a day, but when we rolled out product number 2, our sales of product number 1 doubled, and that was a really, really exciting thing. And so now we roll out products as fast as we can.
So, true. Okay. Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
Of course, of course.
I got a quick question.
Go ahead, James.
All right, so I know everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people are doing a zone blast. So my question for that is, like, how effective, well, I know they're effective, but over which duration should I expect to see results?
So you want sales as fast as possible. You don't want to spread them out. And when you, if you hit all those sales and they're all gone within an hour period, which is a perfect scenario, the algorithm will take about 24 hours to adjust your BSR, and then over the next 5 days or so is when you will start to increase in rank. So, and then after that 5 days is when the natural sales will start to pick up. So after about a week after your Zon Blast is when you'll see tangible results from that blast.
Okay.
Can I ask why you asked that question?
Okay, so I was out of inventory for over 27 days, so my ranking dropped big time. However, it's been about a week, so they're starting to pick back up. I'm thinking I'm about around 18 sales a day now, which is fine. But what I really wanted to do, I'm still at the bottom, still sort of the middle bottom of page 1. So I'm back in the game, but I'm really trying to get back up to the first or second listing on the page. Now, over that month, so basically I'm trying to take out my competition. So I'm looking, I'm already aggressively doing Amazon PPC, and that's helping out a lot. But I'm trying to get over the hump and get up.
Okay, so when you were you at number 1 or number 2 before you ran out of stock?
I was around number 4.
Okay, and how many sales a day were you doing at its peak?
Anywhere between 25 to 30.
Okay, good, good. So I would, if you've got the cash for it, I would recommend doing a blast. I'm no longer a fan of the dollar giveaways as much as I was before. I now like a higher price, just because, and the reason for that is a compliment to Joe, because his list is so responsive now that we don't have to settle for dollars. We can go for $5 now, so we mitigate that cost a little bit more. I'd recommend you do that. You can also experiment with what we've been talking about dropping the price, because that quantity of sales will impact your overall ranking if more people are searching for that keyword. My bigger concern with you is actually well, two things I want to look at with you that'll help increase the keyword that you're targeting. If you're in the middle of page 1 but only doing 20 or 18 a day or so, I'm slightly concerned. So let me ask you: are there other keywords that you found from pay-per-click that have more volume than the primary keyword you're targeting right now?
Yes.
There are.
But
okay.
But they're less. They have more volume, but they're less targeted.
Are people buying them through that keyword?
Yes, they are. They are buying them through the keyword, but I'm losing money.
I see.
Through the buying process.
Are you ranking for those keywords organically?
You know what? I haven't checked that particular keyword that I'm getting most of the sales, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely check that. Definitely check that. So we had this. We had a product. My first product was making a lot of sales through a keyword that was not very targeted, and as a result, we were making sales and profit, but people weren't happy with the product. Interesting. So we turned off that keyword, removed it from our listing because we didn't want to rank for it, and then we released a second product that matched that keyword, and it sells extremely well through that keyword. So that's one strategy you could copy. Another is, if it is targeted enough for your product to meet what they're searching for, by all means you'll want to put attention on that next. Once you've dominated this one keyword, you'll want to turn your attention towards that keyword and start to rank for that if you're already ranking for it organically. If you're on page 10, don't worry about it. But if you're already starting to peak up for it, it might be worth putting some attention towards. All of this to say, I think I would be, if I was in your position, I'd be looking at other keywords that might bring in some significant volume. For example, on the supplement company, fish oil and omega-3. People who are shopping for those two keywords are looking for the same thing. They're equally targeted, but they're completely different keywords. Omega-3 is a sub-ingredient. Fish oil is what people call it. Completely different keywords, same thing. So we realized that there was volume in omega-3. We started to turn our attention towards omega-3 in addition to just fish oil. And as a result, we got increased sales 25% or so from a keyword that we weren't previously aware of. So I'd be looking at those types of keywords. I'm also curious about the same thing regarding a #1 tag for you, because that will definitely help you take sales away from the top guy and put them towards you. So how close are you to getting #1 in a subcategory?
Actually, I already have a #1 subcategory tag. So
great.
So that seems to help. I got that back. I mean, that was a strategy I had already implemented before. So I'm fine there. I think one of my next steps as well is dropping the price. The only thing I have issue that I have with dropping the price is I have an HTML listing that hasn't been messed with. And I actually wrote the price in the HTML itself. So I would need to go in and change the HTML to look at something different.
So,
which made long.
So I don't quite understand the system of so you're saying you can't edit the listing because of the HTML, correct?
Well, I can edit. Was basically what's going to happen. If I edit the listing, it's going to get rid of my HTML description. So I'm gonna have to go. I know a way around it. It's just a hassle.
Got it. Okay, I understand. We found we had to remove our HTML listing. Didn't see that much of a drop in sales, so we were not too concerned about it. To be honest with you.
Okay.
We put a lot of energy into building that HTML, but once it was gone, didn't affect sales that much.
Interesting. Okay.
Who was it from stage at last ASM? It might have been Jason. Said the most important thing on your listing is your images. The second most important is your headline. The third most important is your bullets. The least important is your description. And I have tried descriptions 100 different ways, and it does seem to have very marginal effects. So if it is causing you more stress than it's worth, I wouldn't worry too much about the HTML in there. They look great. I mean, they look really great. I don't know why Amazon just doesn't let us have them, because they look awesome. Haven't found it affect sales all that much.
Okay.
I'd prefer to have them because they look great and they're great for branding, but not a huge impact.
Okay.
So, how many reviews do you have, James?
I have 123 reviews.
And how many do the people who are above you on page 1 have?
All right, so that's the interesting piece. So my top 2 competitors have 447 and 496 reviews.
Okay.
And then anybody else, the 2 people that I started with, we're all in the same. I mean, there's about 2 other products that started around the same time as I, and we are pretty much neck and neck with reviews.
Okay. And how many? What's their BSR? The people who are above you, what's their BSR at the top?
The top people are in anywhere between 150 to 300. And
what's yours?
Mine is around 1,300.
Okay. And price. What's the price of the top people in yours?
The top person has a $16.95. No, yeah, $16.95. Then it goes from $18.95 to $21.99.
Are you 20?
I'm $18.95.
And what's your profit per sale?
About $8.
Okay, try. I want you to experiment with the same thing we've talked about dropping the price.
Mhm.
And I would recommend a Zomblast. The thing for you, it looks like the thing that's impacting. That's a big jump from 150 to 1,300, and for only being a few spots. It's a
Right.
big difference. So I'm in my brain. I'm like, how do I get him there as fast as possible? If I were you, I'd be being aggressive by doing a Zomblast, a price drop at least temporarily, and putting a lot of attention on reviews. In doing so, you'll take some market share away from the top people, while
Mhm.
also inflating your own, which will make you look more, at least temporarily, more authoritative in Amazon's eyes than these other people. So
All
a
right.
price drop is going to take BSR away from them, and the Zomblast is going to give it to you, and that will help level it out so that you are starting to push your way towards the top and at least
Okay.
get into that top 5 listing again.
Okay. Because yeah, I know this is a good category, and I know they're making money, but I just hadn't figured out how to get there.
I'm with you. I mean, with our supplement company, we had that issue for a long time until we just bullied our way into that second keyword, the #1 tag, the price drop. Like it's just a matter of there's something in there that is, and every market's different. There's some buying reason why someone is choosing them over you, and you just got to make it look like you're better. Compare your images to theirs, compare your copy to theirs.
Mhm.
But most importantly, I'd be looking at how can I take away some sales rank from them, give it to me, at least in the short run, so that you can start to be the authoritative person in that space. And it's a difficult thing to do. Like, I'm not suggesting it's easy to drop your price and eat into your profit margins, but I want you to test it for a week or so and see
All
how
right.
it affects your BSR and how it affects their BSR. If I'm wrong, we've lost a week and we know that's not the case, and then we might test upping your price.
All right.
But we need to start looking at how do we give you the authority and rather than letting these top people have them. And that's what I want you to test this week.
Okay. Good enough.
All right, cool. Okay, tribe. Well, over the next couple weeks, the calls are going to be more like this. It's going to be more us working hands-on, basically for the level that most of us are at. Unless we're sitting around 10 people at a table at an event in Austin or in my high-level mastermind group. We've covered all that we can cover in stage 1 and 2. So it's going to be massaging the process through here until we graduate into the ASM here in a couple weeks, or if some of you decide to come to Austin sometime this year and work hands-on on your business. So this is the format it's going to be like. So for future calls, bring your questions, bring what you tested, bring what worked and what didn't work, and we'll massage it from there. So thank you, guys. I'm excited to see you in 3 weeks. All of you have details for the meeting itself, right? For us meeting in February. The day before, I think it's from 11 to 6 is our meeting. You can come and go as you please, and we have room for 100 people. So just come on in as you please. It'll be about 100 people, and we'll be all meeting in person, and then we'll be going to dinner that night. So excited to meet y'all, and we'll be doing this kind of style until the live event first week of February. Thanks for coming, guys, and I will see you next week.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one. Bye.